Alright, so let's get some stuff done. Right now we have the data structure isn't even finished yet, which I've been lazy about. I usually hate doing data structures. So we have to manage whenever people join, what we do with their data, and when people quit. Go and set those up real quick. Basically what I do with mine, hold on, I don't know if the keyboard's going to be killing the audio right now, but basically what I do with mine usually is I will, when somebody joins, I'll load all their stuff. If we don't have it, whenever they quit, I will put their user into a offline list, which basically just, instead of saving their data whenever they go offline, I just keep it in a collection so I'm not loading data all the time. Yes, this is so redundant, but I do it anyway. Yo, broad and a hot bra got me topped off, and my cock gave a lockjaw. Is it my fault she cannot talk? He is the villain that's still in that pussy, leaving you killed if you're willing to push me. We don't compete in no league full of rookies. Everyone's asking how good do my kush be? And for some reason I prefer to do the highest priority every single time for these because we'll be the last one to see what's going on in this. Kicking a sinister flow, relevant reverie, ignorant no. Horn on my sleeve, robotic below. So blog us Slovene, you'll fucking shalom. The name cerebral, an impeccable resident evil villain is leaving the beat in the siege. Your dissonant people are down to receive your eminence. Me, it seems to be now that we are vis-a-vis. I steady rock a Pegasus, and still you're looking down on me. Fascist with a passion, grab a sack of hash. I'm ashing prehistoric past assassins faster than the mass disaster crashing down. I'm quick to overtake your absent town of transients and plastic clowns, so sit your circus asses down. See, the way that we're gonna, I think, why I usually like doing the register these is, I don't do it that much, but I'll do it with the constructor, because it's usually nice to do that. What do I do? Lyricals creep. What do I see? I watch the music exercise the beast in me. Minnesota boy, but Texas is in my rear view. Kill the track with analysts, Los Muertos to seize you. Tangle with cadavers while we dance among the dead and paint the most vivid depictions till your speakers bleeding red. Yeah. Alright. I haven't even finished the user object, but basically what we have in here is all the stuff that we have from the last server, where we have actually stored some of the stuff in the statistics object. I don't have all of these different variables, but we got the math for the experience set up and everything like that. So we will pretty much go with the object. We just have to go through saving their data. And I'm going to make this compatible with our old one, so I'm going to have to refer back to the text file over and over to make sure this is like completely accurate with our old one. See him sunning motherfuckers like they was in need of dads. If you're sleeping, I'm a creeping where your mother keeps the cash. Rhyme about the rubbish, fly without the luggage. Trained out, I love it, cause so we'll have to get their actually, let me just change this to the get so I don't have to keep typing get over and over again. It'll be file configuration. We sense a hot summer, we stench in my Hummer. Be tense because I got some reflexes like thunder. Recess the way I play with these records. You're one that's rejected by a bitch that keeps texting my number. Kid was born a dragon, shit just ought to happen. I really shouldn't have done this because this is like a super boring part of it. But basically all we're doing is just the normal saving data over and over again with all of our different variables. So I'm just going to paste it over and over again. I don't know if I have a variable for shards yet. Maybe we have one for... Yeah, we do.
level. And our start variable. This is like whenever the progress through a level. So if they are, like the progress throughout the level will be the start. I'm trying to think of the best way to explain it. Like let's say your progress through the level, like if you're 50% through the level, then this would be half of the end. So if the end was 100,000 and the start was 50,000, then you'd be 50% through that level. And I have these as a big integer because these are going to get really big once people get to like level 40 or so, like way over the integer max. So we kind of prevent that number format exception. We constantly burning, stay chill like it's not that urgent. Jada and Will, the pothead version, closest that we can be. Lay low with my BAE, and we owe it to the THC. Never say no to that CA weed. Make that ass relax. OG Kush, take a dab of wax. And whenever we have the chance, me and her go through my stash. That's a lot more than I needed. Imagine that. Or a lot less than I needed. We have a lot of these nodes to set. And I really wanted to use JSON for this. I would have preferred using JSON, but I've decided to go with YML for this entire thing. Drag, hold, laughs, jokes, taking fat toast till we have choked. We get buck wild puffin' out smoke. We get buck wild puffin' out smoke. Mode will be a bit different. We actually have a mode object for this now, so we have to do get mode, and then toString. Which I've actually done all that right here. We have a mode interface. I don't know if I stored the date yet. All from a straight inhalation and avoid any lame complications. Only way to explain it is every day's an occasion. I want this forever, I'm impatient. Yeah, we don't have that. Talk about the best of vacations. Adding flavor to life. All the taste that we light. Maybe it's in a user. Oh no, I didn't put that in. We will have to go directly. And this is actually like the date that they join, not like a, instead of having it go from the system time that they joined in, we're actually just using the string for date so we don't have to convert it later. It's a little bit easier to do that. Oh, we do need to keep the date there. So this is like whenever we have a user that we don't have that much data on, but we do know these three things, but we're just making a new user, so we're setting the shards and stuff to 0. You have error right here. Okay. And the format is date too. Let me see if I remember how to do this. I'm ready, G. Grab the notepad as I picked up a pen. There's like some sort of format for it, I believe. How you set up the date format. You know what? I'm gonna look back on the old source for this, so I don't have to spend too much time trying to figure it out. This is the messy old project we had. Oh, I do need to. There's encoding overload. Oh no. If you plan to be the majesty of rapping, then you practically been branded as a casualty. Hardest in the game, make it rain, no force. Hotter than a flame coming straight out a torch. All they want is fame when they ain't worked for it. If you're caught up in your lane, homie, change your course. Trying to be as skilled with the mic as I could be. Every night I chill while I write until I sleep. I'm trying to be as ill as hepatitis with a C. Spit the tightest, been the type to minimize your team. Witness me
Yeah, I'm going to set the title on the new video just to say that it's now. So the stream will probably lag because my CPU is going to be overloaded for a little bit. So deal with that.
Sometimes I feel annoyed enough though that I could start a royal rumble, destroy and crumble. But I swear the boy is humble. I just gotta voice my struggle. Let me vent. Let me vent. Let me vent. I really need to voice my struggle. Yes, I need to voice my struggle. Tonight I came to voice my struggle. Can I just voice my struggle? I really need to voice my struggle. Yes, I need to voice my struggle. Tonight I came to voice my struggle. Can I just voice my struggle? You witnessing the thoughts that I jot. Listen, this is harder than rock. I'm sicker than a coffin that rots. The kid has been involved in a lot, works hard, but I still feel
okay, I
far
set the
from
title.
the top. Yet I still give every bar all I got. And I still shit on any song that I drop. Not many who could say they've got what I brought. So the option to stop is a nah. Tell me, was it all the risk? 10 years just to feel anonymous. How the fuck did I get involved in this? Busy, you should check every call I've missed. Real name is Seth, but they call me List. And on the real, what I think my problem is that people keep neglecting the heart I give. Sorta like my ex-girls oughta did. Fuck them, cause my fans gon' acknowledge it. Give me props on my efforts and accomplishments. And I'm blessed to be sent all these compliments, cause I can help any motherfucker's confidence. Look, growing up I was lonely with a cold heart. Now I'm slowly getting older with a slow start. And even though I'm killing records like a Mozart, somehow I always feel second like a co-star. Let me fuck it though, all I know is go hard. And I'ma always stay afloat like a coast guard. But let me vent though, all I know is go hard. And I'ma always stay afloat like a coast guard. Let me vent. Let me vent. Let me vent. I really need to voice my struggle. Yes, I need to voice my struggle. Tonight I came to voice my struggle. Can I just voice my struggle? I really need to voice my struggle. Yes, I need to voice my struggle. Tonight I came to voice my struggle. Can I just voice my struggle? And I cream, I came just to shit on the scene. Chase for what's bigger, we live in our dreams. Brains like I've been on some liquor or lean. Rain on a stripper, I'll tip her with green. I don't wanna diss, but your shit's phony. You don't know list, but your bitch knows me. I'm the main reason she's been hoeing. And I'm the kid that's got her lips foaming. Texting me, trying to get extra close. Yeah, I'm from the west and I rep the coast. You don't gotta guess how we gets our dough. Out of all checks given, I'ma get the most. Buzzed on a Bud Light while I light bud. Chug on a Sprite in the all-white cup. These broads hit the nightclubs trying to find love till the sunlight strikes and they're not wiped up. Look, don't rattle that nerve. Switch plans or get hurt. Watch me kick sand in your cataract first. Cause I handle that dirt, this, that, shit that make your Cadillac swerve. Sit back, take a drag of that perk. Amateurs, y'all sounding as worse as a riff-raff battle rap verse. And it's these words that can make a brother flatline. Kill a flow, leave a hoe with a cracked spine. Fast lines got the force of a Pac-9. It's that time that we shine till you're half blind. This is my prophecy. Listen up, you can learn a lot from me. Animosity is something I receive from guys that are honestly obsolete. I'ma go big for the people around me. Every word is sounding clean as Downey. I'ma get every single speaker pounding. So suck on 4 dicks on me, keep frowning. While money is something I keep counting. Till flooded with so much I seem drowning. Never focused on these geeks clowning. Surrounded with nothing but G's around me. Dipping through obstacles, mission impossible. And you know the kid has come to kick a colossal flow. Lick up my popsicle, shit is so off the globe. In this business a trigger could lock and load. Like we all came from the dark, invading the game while I'm making my mark. You hate what I say, I'm just playing my part. Remaining the same from the day of my start. Aim for the heart, fuck entertainment, I made it for art. Fuck with your brain, I could take it apart. Then walk away, hop on the train and depart.
sit and wonder how I spit it diverse. They can hear the thunder as I get in my verse. If you feel my hunger, here's a bit of my thirst. They just try to sit to get a grip of my words. Everyone is swimming, I'm the kid that dive first. I can never let no fucker get on my nerves. When all I do is chillin' like this kryptonite herb. So don't like this feeling right, these riddle like words. Taught that if I give it all, I get what I deserve. Started as a kid, I told you bitches I'd emerge. Dogging from the shit, then y'all some kitten type turds. Brought up with the vision that I'll get what I done earned. It's hotter in my kitchen, y'all can't deny the burn. Mad that I got women that'll fantasize to serve. Wishing you could grab a thighs to satisfy your urge.
Those who know to stop. With the nonsense they all the time. Cause those who know I'm bright. With the soul I was born to rock. Those who know to stop. With the nonsense they all the time. Cause those who know I'm bright. With the soul I was born to rock.
Gambling some cash at the dice roll, fam. If anybody asks, I'm the maestro man. Get me on that ass, girl, I might go ham. Shorty, I'ma film it off an iPhone cam. Levitate my brain whenever I smoke grams. Steady with my game like a tightrope champ. Broke inside your range for a nitro, fam. I hope you made your payment for your Geico plan. They just can't control the way that he keep flowing heat. Plus he getting so big that he's reaching overseas. Shorty, is you letting I can speak some Portuguese. Guarantee my Mac if in the week in both your knees. These ladies want the dickin' from a dude like me. Asking if I'm packing, what's your shoe size, please? Game is getting smoother than the cool night breeze. We ain't any different, I'm just you times 3.
Those who know to stop. With the nonsense they all the time. Cause those who know I'm bright. With the soul I was born to rock. Those who know to stop. With the nonsense they all the time. Cause those who know I'm bright. With the soul I was born to rock.
Straight loss if you think you'll take all my stats. Faking gets you pissed on and kicked off the mat. Play ball, I don't mean no kickoff or pass. I'm saying if you're pissed off, then lick on the sack. Those getting mad, how his shit's not matched. Most try to grasp how he shits on wax. Bro, yo raps go against yo facts. Your whole cruise and act like a sitcom cast. See the way he's gassing, he just had to start the shouting. If you think I'm spazzing, I'm just passionate about it. They can try and catch up, but I bet they'll just start drowning. Have a couple glasses of this Remy that I'm downing. He's here to stay, so just like yo sirens. Hear the way that my flow sliding. My folk riding in my iPhone. I've been vibing and you not gon' stop him.
Those who know to stop. With the nonsense they all the time. Cause those who know I'm bright. With the soul I was born to rock. Those who know to stop. With the nonsense they all the time. Cause those who know I'm bright. With the soul I was born to rock. From the AM to the AM, 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 we work, we work, we work, we work.
I'm addicted to causing you all hell. Sick with the thoughts that the cartel might piss on your broad like I'm Arkell. Dick is as hard as a barbell. Dog, you as soft as a marshmallow. Spark is a garment, the car smell. Caution, my dog's finna launch a shell. Watching it causing your heart to fail. It's like I'm stuck in the ozone, cause I'm high as fuck in my own zone. Light it up and I'm so gone. You should try your puff and get your dome blown. Get change, those a must. Y'all from the coast where they throw them dubs. Known for the hoes and the potent bud. Make a toast to the dope is a pour it up. Smoking ounce till he lays on the ground. Ho, it's about to be major in town. Those who doubted me say that they proud cause they roll around the streets playing my sound. Deep with the shit so I might fly it. The level I spit at is ironic. Each lyric delivered is iconic. See, he's been considered as psychotic. Scrambling mind so I like chronic. You amateurs try but don't quite got it. Damage your sight if you try talking. Gamble your life, put a price on it. Limits on a thin line, test the board. I'm getting what the kids strive extra for. Life is a big grind, that's for sure. We winning on this, I check the score.
From the AM to the AM, 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 we work, 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 we work. We grind all day long, day long, day long. We grind all day long, day long, day long. We grind all day long, day long, day long. We grind all day long, day long, day long.
I've been on my job since long ago. Grinding while I conquer obstacles. Don't sleep when you're trying to rock the globe. No thief, but I'm often robbing shows. Bitches seem just to stop, drop it low, and they feed off a lot of gossip. So getting me is the top of all the goals. Hennessy, cause I'm popping off the clothes. 8 bars that can make you woozy. Kid stays raw like a plate of sushi. Play Ray Charles as a blazing doobie while the play stays shung on my favorite movie. Let me speak malicious. You planning to talk, you gon' leave with blisters. Now hand me a box of your sweetest wishes. One hand on my cock as I read the scriptures. I'm Mr. Colossal, using his fists to fit through your nostrils. Taking your chick out for chicken and waffles. Making you sick as I dip in your Tahoe. Your heart may sink, writing some bars that your broad may sing. Ill with the mind, need an all-day shrink. And I live on the grind, it's an all-day thing.
From the AM to the AM, from the AM to the AM, from the AM to the AM, from the AM to the AM. We work, 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 we work.
We grind all day long, day long, day long. We grind all day long, day long, day long. We grind all day long, day long, day long. We grind all day long, day long, day long. The effort I'm bringing, with my measure of thinking, got you sweating and stinking, heavily stressing, excessively blinking. Cause your credit is shrinking, now you're just stressing, repetitively drinking. Cause you're upset I'm ahead while you're sinking. I'm getting veggies, you're messing with Lincolns. Got at least 2 blunts, smoke on my weed, you gon' need new lungs. Bow down, I'ma make you weak dudes run. Count down, motherfucker, 3, 2, 1. I stay wrecking, this third verse got them straight threatened. Curse words if I may mention, work first and we play second. I'm the baddest of people, man on the plan just to shatter your ego. Jacking your van just to crash in your regal. Sticking your hand in a bag full of needles. Stay strong, stay supplying my great songs. Name a rhyme I can't take on, it's cause I'm grinding all day long. We grind all day long, day long, day long. We grind all day long, day long, day long. We grind all day long, day long, day long. We grind all day long, day long, day long. They don't want clashing with lists, no action. You would have to dismiss. I could turn any rap to a classical diss. Known asshole cause I use my passion and gift. As a verbal bat that can split any rapper in half on a track when I spit. Flow flammable factors, I'm fracturing ribs. This is practice, I'm actually laughing at this. Ha! Y'all stay average as shit, all stayed if my car may happen to flip. Always playing Scarface after a split. Ball play like I'm Barclay smashing a swish. Girl, show me what your pants won't show. Look how, tell me what your mans don't know. Bet you I can make your fucking ass go low. Then I'll have you give a little head blow slow. Fresno bound, bless the sound. This is how to my pain comes from madness.
Okay.
No strength comes without
Back
sadness.
to-
When I say stuff over tracks, it's like a
Oops.
paintbrush to a canvas. Brave bruh, cause I planned this. A cuz who the man is. Haters cannot stand this, cause they can't touch what I've managed. The string shit that I battled through. Gave lists this attitude. You lame bitches ain't half as true. Need a lane switch for my avenue. As a youngin' outline my own. Made a few friends that would ride along. Never knew then what was right or wrong. Can a dude vent when his mic is on? It's like trouble came searching for me. Life struggles make certain stories. Used to fight and scuffle in the early morning. Now the same fuckers wanna work for me. Times change, tables turn.
We are going to finish the data structure for the most part.
Life stays taking fatal turns.
Again, we have this error here because we didn't finish the date. I don't remember how I did the structure. This stuff is like crazy old. Whenever we first did this, like it's ew. I had SQL set up for it, but I didn't even use it. I can't find what the date is. String date. Where is it being called from? Player, yeah, player. Oh yeah, full date format. That's what it was. Couldn't remember that. I haven't used that for such a long time. We just throw that right here. Did I do user?
progress, cause every step taken has taken me
How
here.
the syntax is. Yeah, that's correct. What's it asking for? Oh, yeah. My bad.
Life's one big hit and miss.
Is that what I did over here?
Hit and miss. Life's one big hit and miss. Hit and miss. Hit and miss. Life's one big. Life's one.
Oh, date format.
Big hit and miss. One hit and miss.
Yeah.
One hit and miss.
So you have a date, and then you format, and you have a new date. That makes sense. I forgot about that. So date.
They all saw my progress.
Format, new date.
Ball hard like our test and our
Pretty
test,
simple.
y'all are less. Now hit till I'm part deaf. Spark shit till the dawn
Now we
sets.
have
I'll
that. We'll have
accomplish
to
what is complex. Getting all
simply
bricks off of
do
my chest. Die rich is the
get
mindset.
date. No,
I
I didn't
live
put
with
that
the
there, did I?
concept. Bringing content like a rhyme vet. All the time sense ain't worth nonsense. Drive late through the interstate. I stay where the winners play. Though my faith is my inner strength. My mind state has sinner ways. Pain is made to touch us all. Make a gain the toughest balls. Made my way this fucking far. There ain't no way I'll fucking fall. Crazy y'all like a part loon. Slay your heart with a harpoon. I'm
Then we have
dog like a
the
dark moon. I pray that God makes my
voted.
thoughts bloom.
That's not how. I'm actually gonna leave that out for now. Those are data things we don't need. We are gonna keep referred. No, we aren't gonna keep that. We are going to keep their nick, their color, not their racial color, their chat color, and their prefix. The load is going to be the same thing, but we're actually loading a player object. So whenever we save it, we're not actually getting rid of it from the object. We're just putting all this data into the the data file. And then what we're going to do is when we're loading here, this one we're actually putting the new data in there. So you have to do wait, let me see, I need to look at the constructor, or I'll just look at the load again, or the save, so I can refer to what it is. Okay, so string name equals, we'll do the same thing over here. Shards.
I'ma make you bound to, I'ma make you proud to, proud to, proud to, I'ma make you bound to, I'ma make you proud to, proud to, proud to. Shades on with a beanie, I'ma make you all go believe me. Used to spray.
I'm gonna start typing this out because it takes too long to even copy and paste it.
Now I'm taking off. Do you see me? See these haters all be sneaky, cause this game is all fake.
The start is gonna be a big integer. So data dot get. You can't get a big integer. What to do? Big integer value of data dot get. Oh, I don't think we can put get int because if we do that, it'll return the format exception. So we have to do start. No, it can't work like that. Value of long needs to be a long. Okay. I don't know how. I know big integer is virtually infinite, so that's pretty much why I chose that over long, because we don't know how big you're gonna get, and eventually, I mean, there's gonna be like 100 levels, which is, take a look at the algorithm, would be pretty high number. We'd have those two. I wonder what our lifetime is quick. I think it shows it 36 minutes.
That I know of dudes who would love to limit me. Special delivery, messed in the temple, he's mental though, isn't he? Intense and excessively dope, but the sentences test my ability.
The time will be along as well.
Certified gem, I murder thy pen. Don't try to pretend, each verse I invent ain't worth the high end. The key to survival's really believing in things that you'll die for. I'm hotter than Venus and all my Latinas say he is a vibe though. Mental case, let's take it back to the Fresno days. Get home from school, smoke a bowl or two and let the headphones play.
After this, we'll probably be able to do some fun stuff. Because honestly, it's like the worst part of every single plugin is setting up all this crap. It's not that fun. But I kind of have to do it, so I know I'll be able to debug later. Won't be doing any debugging in the stream, but I like to have it done. Let me see here. We need a from string method for that, I think. Let me check what we have here. We'll have to do high mode equal data get string. We're gonna make a method to be 2 mode. For now, I'm just gonna keep it here. We might need it somewhere else. I'll just do string 2 mode. Switch mode. Oh yeah. Why not just name the string? Because it would make more sense if I just called it string. Because it pretty much is that.
I'ma need you to catch up with this one. Days I see.
Whoa, what happened there?
Ice was good. Got goals that I'll reach. Trying to grow from a pro to a chief. Use a kitten that holds a disease. The kid is the pit that just broke off a leash. Admit that you know that I'm over unique. You chickens don't wanna have no kind of beef. Shit so dope, call it coke on the beat. List on this, can you go kinda deep? Show that your flow has a soul when it speaks. Bitch, feel the kicks from the sole of my feet. This on this flow, you can choke on the D. Cause the shit that I spit is so over you weeks. Medicine blown as I roam overseas. Let a bitch know I don't go underneath. Step in this moment to let it be known that I'm shredding the opponent who wanted with me. Spaz and he always seems grinning. And his G screaming, we winning. If you have a dream, then believe in it. Cause it could happen at any minute. Far from my art, just a lamp respect. Balls to the wall, could you stand a step to this harder and passionate path of stress? Watching your art not manifest.
Oh, we got only 4 more to go. Thank God. I hate doing these.
When you fall through the darkest and massive depths. Students in Harvard can't pass this test. But this year, I'm a new dude. This here, bit I knew. Made it crystal clear what I do too. Every studio that I move through. But it's true that my words are literal. I don't claim I'm a killer, but I murder syllables. I don't turn from a burn. My words are killable. While you claiming that you follow when you earn a minimal. I'm a real dude, but your words are pitiful. Claiming that you.
And don't ask why I'm doing these in order. It's just like an OCD thing for me. Like I prefer all the as we save and load everything to be in the correct order. Like I even think the constructor is in the correct order. String color. Oops.
Make music that'll cater to the felons, the ones craving just to put the credit to your melon. Say you getting paper, but you earn your wage. You're telling it's amazing how these fakers even selling. Sitting in my chamber, feeling angry while I'm vaporizing, smelling how you're telling. It just feels like a propelling. Yelling at a preaching of it, that I've been preaching what I'm yelling. I'm that teacher that'll beat you till your features ain't appealing. Listen to the drama, listen to Obama. So much money that they call my big the institute of commas. Hit it to a ganja, got me in the mood to wind around the sickest line, strong enough to victimize your mama. Hypnotized by the way you spit the rhyme armor. Grip a nine with the cage, to my honor. You ain't never heard a rapper say the rhymes fine. I'm flyer than the wings on the side of a sidewinder.
Alright, then we're gonna have to add a new user, so we'll do the get our instance user, add online user, new user. Okay, then we're gonna have this giant I think it'd be better to do it like this. Statistics. Excuse the hammering. They're setting up my little brother's room with a new bed. Shards level.
chills. Cannabis, what I've been smoking. Fattest hits taking big doses. Analysts got your miss soaking. Damn the hips could cause hypnosis. She can't resist the kids pimp post.
I'm terrible for recording memory, and I'm just OCD, so I keep checking his skills.
Spitting that shit that they been quoting. My game is mean. Diligent ways when I bring the team. Ill as a leg hit with gangrene. Digging through ways I can make it scream. But it pays to dream. Aim for the day that I'll make them scream. I'm a ball like my name Kareem. Abdul Jabbar, bitch, I slay your team, yo. Crew came with lame hoes, cause your dudes ain't nothing but plain Joes. I hang with my main bros who make it rain, so take out your raincoats. Gain the most, and we straight pros, and we make these hoes just wanna stay close. We the shit so case closed, you can tell by the way that we slay shows. We so raw, so real, go hard, no deal.
The reason why we get names is we're going to compare the two names so we can notify if there's going to be a name change. Just like if someone joins, you know, it'll publicly broadcast that. If you're wondering why we're done at least nothing with the name. Spit a ball that'll cause you to wreck you. Little harm, no car can protect you. Take caution when knocking these records. So the real name would be up here. So I'm gonna be referring to this dot name, and then we're gonna be check name. Quick method just to say if their name changed or not.
Cause there's no such thing as enough bass. Boy gets cream like a puff paste. Focusing on these bucks pays. Don't just think you can touch A when all you bring is chump change. On the path that cannot be topped. Swag of a bass so nonchalant.
I put that backwards, my bad.
Dog, we don't brag, there's just lots to fly. All
So
I grew game at a rapid rate. Rob too great, leave the massive base. While y'all dudes fake as an anime. We so raw, so real. Go hard, no deal. Cold hard, giving y'all chills. Y'all chills, y'all chills. So raw, so real. Go hard, no deal. Cold hard, giving y'all chills. Y'all chills, y'all chills. So raw, so real. Go hard, no deal. Cold hard, giving y'all chills. Y'all chills, y'all chills. So raw, so real. Go hard, no deal.
and this will be kind of wonky, I think, but what'll work is we'll say their old name first. So name change their username to
I stay lit like a porch light whore. Ask any source that I ghost right for. Come enjoy the show. Some used to hate and ignore the flow, but now that my name started growing though, all I can say is I told you so. Boys say the same, never sold the soul. Born in the
which I would just tell everybody like, hey, this guy is the same as the last time. It's just his name changed. Okay, done. This stuff is super annoying. Deload and saving for the listeners. Gotta do that. So basically the way this is gonna work is if they join, it's first going to check. So let me go ahead and do this. User equals. This is a user object we keep in our main class, which is an instance, which has a few things. I'm using this both in an object, then we have these two static fields, or static collections, which is probably the best way you can do a data structure in my opinion. Instead of constantly accessing the config file and preventing, what do you call it? What program is that? I'm so sorry. Eclipse. I did not notice your message, mate. He left the stream. Oh god.
I just need to get in that right mind
I feel bad
state.
about that. I don't pay attention to the chat
Mind
enough.
state of zoning
Oh,
the
he's
fuck
here.
out,
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Sorry about that. You'll probably see it now.
I need to zone out, bro.
But yeah, so we're going to see if they are a part of the
Zoning.
is online. No.
Yeah.
On the road to me,
We're
bitches.
gonna make a message for
Young dude
his
that'll
offline
hold his
user.
own, but his soul as old as Egyptians, and he's so close that he's inches from overthrowing his business. Got this hoes twerking at fitness. You could swear this girl was a gymnast. Let them all hate, I better will not get on my case to get off my cock. Came in the game, I aim for the top of the day. Then my name's engraved in a rock. Hate to make way cause I'm taking my shot. Chasing the game.
This is a lot easier to do. Even though we're having a way to return all the offline users, it's still better like encapsulated in my opinion.
From getting in bras to dealing with drama from bitches and broads. Sicker than SARS.
And just looks cleaner.
Man on a mission to stick you with scars. Damaging anything to see my cause. life's wildin' out.
Oh, we don't need to do that. I'll just leave it anyway. We'll have to use it later.
I strive till I make a lot of meals. Why lie, y'all hating on the skill?
We're throwing stacks of TheAura out of dollars. It's more the money you should ask about us. I got a lack full of all my partners. Who got my back, bro, and that's a promise.
So the way that we're going to get that is we actually have to get user. So
boy sick as a damn clinic. Oh shit, cause I'm back in it. Your hoes been in here back in it. I rode in that black tinted. Whole clicks gon' act timid. Whole bitch, use a whack gimmick.
Ho bitch, use a whack gimmick.
Unsigned, I'm a boss shit. One time for the hardships. That fine line, don't cross it. I'll skydive in the mosh pit while I blindside you with jaw kicks. Pile drive, you be cautious. I advise you to walk with a knife beside you with call quits. There's evidence I would be fly. Ever since
and if they're offline user, then all we have to do is remove them from that list. So user, remove offline user, user. Seems kind of redundant, but we need to do this user. And then this dot user add
on the road to make more sounds from the coast where they smoke pounds. Call me A, but I'm known now. Call me A, but I'm known now.
And then else, if they're not offline, then clearly they're online. So we do that, which is we don't remove it from online. We just do this dot user. Actually, no, we don't even have to do that. We'll just not be redundant and do that, because either way we're going to be adding online user. We just have to make sure that they're not in that collection anymore. Same thing with leaving. Basically, we're just going to get their user.
Mommy knows she a straight dime, always on her, I can't lie. Got me zone with her body shown, it's like a bone to a canine. Striving for what we came by, grinding all through the late night. Riding hard like a monologue, we grind a dog, it's game time.
We're throwing stacks of TheAura out of dollars. It's more the money you should ask about us. I got a lack full of all my partners. Who got my back, bro, that's a promise. It's more than just
So this, we're basically gonna remove them from the online users. So remove online user, and this dot add offline user. So basically what this is doing is if they are online, if in case you can't understand this, because I'm sure some people that are programmers, they may not be on like a high OOP level or whatever, but basically if they are leaving or joining the game and they aren't an offline user, we actually have to define this real quick. We'll do we have to load them actually. So let me see here real quick. Let me make sure we yeah, so then they'd be that. So let me, this will be a bit different than I remembered. My bad. I set this up, I kind of forgot how I set this up. But we're going to be loading them instead. So we actually give them our, I believe, the unique ID. No, I don't think that, I think it was given the player. Yeah, player is new. And we'd have to check that. So we'll actually be contacting our data manager, which is, oops. It'll attempt loading the player, and what it's gonna do is actually an interesting way to do it, I guess. We'll just check if they're joining, and then, not interesting, but obvious way. We'll check if they're joining, and then if they joined, then, or they haven't joined, we just mark them as a new user. And then either way, they're gonna be added to the online users list. And over here, we already know they're a user. There's no way that they can get on the server and not be a user. So we know they're a user. Done with the data structure for the most part, until we have to add new things. So I want to do something a little bit funner than that. Yeah, it's over there.
Shorty see my shit's in demand, so she know that list is the man. See her move her hips when she dance, she could do a grip with her hands. She could make you drool if you let her, she be getting loose on the fella. Mommy's like a tube of vanilla, cause she's sweeter than a spoon of Nutella. She stays paid every day of the week, stays paid every day of the week, stays paid every day of the week, day of the week.
Oh yeah, we need to do going to leave messages, which is pretty simple. Since we're not focusing on using essentials anymore, so we're probably gonna simplify a lot of this. So manage user.
Especially when Hennessy's a must. Get it, baby, let me see you bust. To this beat, I bet I'll beat it up.
We'll just give her the player instead of reloading the player from the user object a little bit faster. So once they leave, we're gonna broadcast a message. So bucket broadcast message. No, that's wrong. I don't like doing it that way because I have to format it myself. So we'll do get the message ourselves. Sorry about the vacuum in the background. Send global message, and we'll say user.get nick, which is there. Actually, no, we need to hold on. We need to set this up a different way. We need to their display name will be a bit different. We actually have to set their display name. So we'll have a display name string. And this isn't probably as you think it will be. We're not going to save this because we're going to be loading at the same time, as like the same time or same way every single time. I'm not a big fan of this song. Okay.
Need a reason to spaz, cause he is a thing of the past. What you think you could last with me? I think what you're thinking is gassed. Speaking facts, I see through cats.
The reason why I'm setting this to public is because we're gonna have to update their display name when they level up. So we don't have to say this value, we'll say so string let's think here. We'll have to get their level, the prefix for their level. I'll probably store this somewhere else. Let's see where we stored all this stuff at. We have player attributes, statistics, which does store their level. So maybe we'll store, because I'm going to have a private array somewhere that will have, oh, we do need to have private. Forgot about this. Oh, I think we had a, yeah, we'll keep that set. Level max right now is going to be 50. So we can just change that really easily. So set level, set experience.
Man, use a runner who act like a gunner. Mad cause it's passionate, cats on the come up. Faster than passing, you cats in the Hummer. Let's go fast as a flash from a thunder. Trick on my stack up, cash like stunner. Chicks got ass, so get it from my mother. Tip top fashion, looking like no other. Bitch got class with a little bit of gutter. Elegant dick down, and the hips make a dick incline. Intelligence mixed with a sick mind. Now tell that bitch list 1 of 6 9.
Need to get the difference so that my math is so bad. I think we do, so level max would be 30. This would be over the level, so we do level minus level max. And that would be the difference of the two. So if there's level 31, then we have 1. Shit I'm reciting just might give you chills. Treat what I write like I'm licensed to kill. Whoever be hyping you might get your pill. I heard you be talking the type that'll squill. Me, I'm the opposite side. Yeah, that's correct. That should be right. Sometimes, like, I can get the math right. It takes me a little bit to get it accurate, or to figure out exactly what it should be. We're just gonna leave that blank for now, because we don't have anything to do with it. Well, we do need to nick. Let's set Okay. So let's get to something a little bit more. Oops, dropped my phone. We'll get to something that's a little bit more fun to do because it's actually getting redundant for me, or just repetitive. We do need to up the economy. So,
let's start from the gate.
let's see here.
Luke, I'm your father, you are a mistake. Oops, I banged his mama for days inside of no kind
If we were to manage the economy, we'd have to have a
lame, a carbon, a fake, heart full of hate. Thoughts be as dark as a cave, but karma will come back and haunt you for days.
have our enum.
Garbage or waste, y'all finna shake like a cart in the eggs.
Which I'm gonna copy from the last one, not because I don't know how to do it, just because I don't want to retype all of this.
That you can't afford, stunting I should gain an award. But pray to the Lord, cause I'm swinging the sword when I'm angry or bored. Weed is all we smoke, we be riding low, two-seated out of four. Many girls, so I'm going eeny mighty more.
My
Eat a
bad.
pipe of
My
gold,
clips,
now
don't
treat it
get
like
mad
a
at me.
hoe. Move them hips till your ass straight hurts. Like bitch, make the damn thing twerk. She's like, Liz, what's your campaign worth? Enough where all I do is champagne surf. Bout minds, I outshine your boss. But sometimes my mind still
Oh,
feels
coding
lost.
overloaded.
Can you save me? I'm drowning in my own thoughts. Can
Let
you
me see what happens
me?
real quick. Let me read this. Didn't like the steering too much. I'm really wondering like exactly what they're trying to tell me when the coding's overloaded. Like sometimes it lags really bad, but sometimes it doesn't do anything. So I'm starting to wonder what's the big deal with it.
Drowning in my own thoughts. All my enemies envy the boss I said I'd be.
Oops.
Cause I got my own
Let me
identity.
reopen that
And I
and
got
get
a
it
soul with a whole lot of energy. That has mentally left me in jeopardy. Nobody seems to feel empathy. Forget it, just let it be. Don't be pretending you're friends with me.
Okay.
Now that you see me
So these are all the
creating
prices for items in game.
that grows on the daily, tremendously.
Pretty obvious, I
Celebrate brain,
guess.
got the Jaeger with Hennessy. Every time I'm wasted, I'm
These are
playing
actually not
melodies.
selling for economy. If you don't know how the art works, this is actually for points. So when someone sells these, they're actually selling it to go to their level.
What my mind's about. Got an IQ that'll psych you out. I don't like you.
Let me
Do
see
you
here.
like
I'm
the
gonna-
ground? Cause I got
I think I
dudes
really want
that'll
to start
strike
the
you
plot
down.
module, but
I'm
that's such
so
a
worthy,
complicated
get
thing
your
to
hoe
work
thirsty,
on.
fucker, then I'll cut the bitch off cold
But I
turkey.
think
Hit 'em
it's
like
gonna be
suck a
really
dick,
fun
bro,
because I
don't
really
irk
wanna.
me.
I would do it right
Damn,
now
now the
actually.
kid's gone dirty.
I'll probably just keep switching around until I decide what I want to do.
Bout minds, I
So basically, what the plots are gonna work like is
But
we have to have
sometimes my mind
a
still
few
feels
different.
lost. Can you save
Let's do plot.
drowning in
How
my
much should we
own
do
thoughts?
on
Can you
land
save
type?
drowning
And
in
let's
my
have a
own
simple enum.
thoughts? Bout minds, I outshine your boss. But sometimes my mind still feels lost. Can you save me? Drowning in my own thoughts. Can you
This is
save
basically, we know there's gonna be
drowning in my own
safe
thoughts?
zone, war zone,
How the fuck do
player,
we face off?
and
We ain't cut from the same cloth. Look chump, I remain boss.
Probably all
With
of them.
nuts like baseballs, tough while you stay soft. Better than I ever been, thank God.
We actually
In
do
my tank
need,
top, revving up a chainsaw.
they can
Pathetic
have
fuck, I'm
2
severing your
zones,
legs off.
so we'll
Turn this
actually
whole
have
damn
a
thing to a leg loss. Oh no, I
oxygen.
didn't. Robotic with the way the Motown's
So that would be a
written.
zone where
Your
players
shit's
can
just so
breathe in
boring, I
without
admit it. Don't
suffocating,
fuck
without
with the coke, but I
a
know
suit
how to
on.
get it. Bout minds, I
And
outshine
we will
your
have,
boss. But sometimes my mind still
if this
feels
was
lost. Can you
done,
save me?
we had a class for
Drowning
each
in my own
different,
thoughts. Can you save me?
let's use a
Drowning in my own thoughts.
interface. I'll do an interface for that, that's a little bit more reasonable. Could say so
But
myself.
sometimes my mind still feels
So we'll
lost.
do
Can you save
iFlops
drowning in my own thoughts? Can you save me?
interface.
Drowning in my own thoughts.
Okay, so we're gonna have private, public, boolean, player, well, on damage. So these are basically like, these are gonna be called whenever someone is in a plot, and basically depending on what plot they're in, we're gonna decide to do these differently. If you're wondering why I'm doing an interface,
And they're like, list.
so
I'm
we
like,
need
what
to
up? They're like, why don't you
public
silver slot for us? I'm like, alright.
SSG
build will be for breaking blocks and
competition like they was my breakfast
building
food.
blocks.
Who you trying, bro? My dudes to snatch your necklace loose. Looking fly enough that you would guess a jet just
We'll
flew.
have
I could leave you breathless like wet sex do from the
let me
west,
think.
but I'm also digging Texas too. Bet you never
We'll
heard no
do
sentences said so smooth. Now my head is
public
growing man says my
boolean,
ex-girl's boobs.
can
Compliment a cup
breed,
size. Try and check the
and we'll
upside.
set the
because
default
I still
to
got some love
false.
for shorty. Why should I lie? Light went up
Well,
for tough
technically,
times. A diamond
90%
in
of the
rough
plots you
iron.
can't breed
Hotter
on,
than the
so
sauna in the summers up in July. Insane as an
because we
asylum.
were
Hear
gonna
the
have,
sirens when I come by. The rage inside my mind is like a
think
lion's
here.
in my bloodline.
We do have to have,
Staying heights, why my eyes are blood dyed when I die.
I'll just set them
I'm
out real
gonna
quick
leave a
just so
mark
I
that
can
can't be denied.
clearly
Basically,
interpret
just try
it.
to see the way I speak with constant ease and put your hate aside
So
and
we'll have
fucking
a,
place me as the nominee to be one of the
player
livest
plot.
fucking rhymers that will ever breathe. Reciting shit that's timeless on the mic is
And this
why I
will
never
implement
sleep.
iPlot.
Finna wreck, so check it. In the millisecond, I could kill a record. Plus, I got the skills to resurrect it. Who the fuck you think can really step to really test my method? I'm delivering the realest message. Tell them bitches
That is the best
test it.
explanation
That's
ever.
a takeover. We don't have to stay sober. Leave my fans amazed when I rap as fast as Daytona. Louder than the sounds of 1,008 motors. I'm a falcon looking down on you clowns that'll
So,
stay lower. They've heard about the
by the way, I
truth
usually
and the
remove
way I
on
keep on
override. If you guys are
pushing.
wondering,
Burning down the
if
booth from
you
the
remove
flames I keep
at
on
override,
cooking.
it doesn't
Pouring
break
out
it.
the
It
booze,
actually,
tell your dame to bring
the
the cushion.
compiler
Your
will
girl is
manage
just
the
as loose
at
as the cheese
override
beneath the
method,
cushion.
so you don't have to worry
She's a
about
gaudy
whenever
broad, parties like it's
you
Mardi
remove
Gras.
it, it doesn't break
Shorty's
anything.
rowdy, y'all dancing
For
in a
Java,
party
it's pretty
bra.
much like every
And
trading
tonight
wheels
she
on,
be a
they'll
star, she needs a bodyguard. She's got
do
the
it
skin
for
that's
you,
soft enough
which
to
is pretty
make
nice
you
of them.
awfully hard. She came prepared tonight wearing white skinnies. It's like paradise to me to
I can't
see
really
a
decide
pair
if I
of
wanted
nice
to breed or
titties.
not.
Got a scary mind with the
I'm
way
gonna
I'm
leave it
staying
true.
highly witty. I'm that
There's only
parasite
one
that
plot
tears
where they
inside
won't
to
be allowed to
paralyze
breed.
your kidneys. Feasting on these folks. I'll speak it sort of slow so the words will stick
So
as
these are the
permanent
booleans
as
that
bleach
said
poured
if they
over
could
clothes.
build or not.
These freaks all wanna know, can I meet them on the low? Am I perverted or a creep the way I keep adoring hoes?
We do have to have an owner for it,
Hey, yo, Ice,
but these are
replay
gonna be a
that
bit
one real
different.
quick, dog. Just-
These are
just in
implementing
case
the
it didn't
plot,
get
but
the
they actually
wordplay,
have
you
a
know what I mean?
different way to work.
Feasting on these
So
folks. I'll speak it
player
sort of slow so the
plot,
words will stick as permanent as
player,
bleach poured
actually
over
have
clothes.
user.
These freaks all wanna know, can I meet them on the low? Am I perverted or a creep the way I keep adoring hoes?
It's your boy Analyst.
So we're gonna be managing their user. So if they build, we're gonna say if we do have to get the player. So we have to know who was building on it.
I'm just too confident. Listen, list is too authentic. Suit on and I got the new drop tinted. Lit, sitting on the rooftop in it. Shit, shorty's got a too hot image. In the tube top move, my get it. What he could do in a day to your bay, I bet you I could do in 5 minutes. Dude is not finished. See this music, I ain't do or die with it. Have I proven now who the top hit is? Since a juvenile, I've been true to my business. Suit tight fitted, new guy shitted. On these other dudes like oops, I admit it. They like and they used to shoot dice with us. How they ever get so super nice with it? List. On everything that I love, boy. On everything that I love, boy.
I like doing my
On everything that I love, boy.
return statements like that. Instead of having return true, I just have a one overall decider and then one return statement, which is a lot cleaner in my opinion.
On everything that I love, boy. I put that. On everything that I love, boy. I'ma maintain
No,
what
I usually
done.
move the
Put it on
seconds.
everything that I love. Bruise
I
your
don't like
brain
the
with the
seconds.
way
Well, I'll
my
leave the seconds there because they're
fits in
already
ways
there.
I could
I
wake
usually
up
remove
theirs.
them.
Go against
Don't
hate, but you
necessarily
can't
need them.
compare. Threatened by my game and they can't compare.
Goodbye,
Losing
seconds.
fame and they hate that fear. So they'll use my name trying to raise up theirs. My views, tapes, what I've made in a year is more than you gained in a decade of you here. Just know that, brethren. Shit'll make your hoe dance, no half stepping. Now I got some old cats so damn threatened, cause they know they got no chance, no damn question. So they gotta
We
post
need to
sneaky
have
shit
a
to make it seem like they compete with this, cause every track that I
safe
speak on
zone
seems to
plot.
hit. Matter of fact, all I gotta do
This is
is
exactly
breathe
what
on
it
it.
is if you know what a safe zone is.
On everything that I love, boy. On everything that I love, boy. On everything that I love, boy. I'ma maintain what I done. Put it on everything that I love, boy. I put that. On everything that I love, boy. I put that. On everything that I love, boy. I put that. On everything that I love, boy. I'ma maintain what I done. Put it on everything that I love. I'm here to set the record straight only. The we don't make it detonate, Brody. Burning apes just to levitate slowly. Heard your tape and they resonate for me. Cause when you bring it the way that I brought
pretty much on build.
notice every single thing about it stems from the fact that I couldn't be doubted.
The only time they can ever build is if they are, so if user
those who said
not
no
get,
to the pro I'd become. Boy, I'm not done.
we don't have a
So
player,
I've
do we?
begun to come and take over the globe for the fun.
Oh yeah, we'll just do,
Headed for the revenue.
we'll add that real
That'll
quick.
keep coming every time I take a
Pretty
breath or
simple
two.
method.
Come take a hit of my medical. Shit'll have you tripping like you ate a lot of edibles. On everything that I love, boy. On everything that I love, boy.
We don't need this online, do we?
On
So I did a different one. We don't need that.
boy. I'ma maintain what I done. Put it on everything that I love, boy. I put that on everything that I love, boy. I put that on everything that I love, boy. I put that on everything that I love, boy. I'ma maintain what I done. Put it on everything that I love,
Oops.
boy.
Okay. Is there anywhere where the player instance is used over here? Why is it? Why did it look for the first time? Oh, get user, my bad. I was just wondering what the hell I was doing.
Ain't with the games and the same old stuff. Hey, don't play, don't bluff. I've been trying to bang, I don't make no love, but I'm starting to gain your trust. So, the kids got amazing news. I really wanna tell you the truth. I've been on my game, making major moves, and it's true that I pay my dues. So, most can't deny. I've been on the chase for the paper. Soaked up game like
And actually, the player plot would be a bit different. We're actually gonna have a list of users. Well, we need to have users, which will be the users that are allowed to build on that plot, which gets added by the owner. So we're gonna plot owner in a little bit.
Driving down
Private.
Sunset. Tell me, shorty, is you 21? Yeah. Cause I'm trying to get your tongue wet. Now we could roll a couple blunts, yes. We could fly off in this bitch. We could fly off.
And I'm pretty sure we wouldn't include the owner in there.
We could fly
So
off, then we should fly off, then we should fly off in this bitch. We could fly off in this bitch. We should fly off in
no.
this bitch.
Yes.
We could fly off, then we should fly off, then. He's in demand if you haven't noticed. Real fucking fans been mad supportive. It's easy to plan, but it's not the focus. So think what you can, but you'll never do this, cause you ain't that devoted. I know it.
We'll
Run
also
around
have
bragging that
a,
you got a Mac loaded.
pretty much the
Instead of
same
getting
as that
bigger,
one,
you just backtrack
except,
bogus. You should get on Twitter, dog, and hashtag
it'll
hopeless.
be
Instead of trying to grind to get anything that your fucking mind selects, you would rather die instead of strive for the best. That's why you end up crying as you're lying on the steps, regretting every time that you might have not stepped to any opportunity to light a God blessed. Mommy is a rule to me to like you not dressed. I'm trying to see them booty cheeks out the long dress. Let your naughty go, get your body close. If you got a man, I'll let nobody know. Here's another plan, mommy, tell him adios. Cause once a minute you won't even want nobody
they're allowed to be
else.
damaged
Now
in
I'm
this plot.
driving down Sunset. Tell me, shorty, is you
It doesn't only
21,
do
yeah?
objects for the plot. We actually have to have a manager for the land, which is a pretty complicated thing, I guess you can say. Because that's just like telling us what the land can do. So let me think here. If we did a per block land, we'd have a lot more leniency. Plus it'd be super easy. So I think I'll go and do it like that. We'll have an object for the
Lighted up, puff. Times are getting rough.
land,
Tried enough, now I'm fucking climbing up above.
which is super
Anyone
simple.
with this fucking rhyming stuff I does, cause I done gave it time with
Private.
all the right amount of love.
We'll have
See, I
a
feel
list
to
of
devotion. Feel this you will, cause my skills are
what it
improving.
be.
You ain't ill.
I think you could say block, but I think it actually would be better to use location. I've never done any sort of claim system before, so this is my first time doing that.
About the rest, cause this shit is still rubbish. These are my thoughts, not a diss. They be quite cautious with list. See me right off what you miss. Ain't it quite awesome how we light off, then fly off in this bitch. We could fly off in this bitch. We should fly off in this bitch. We could fly off, then we should fly off, then we should fly off in this bitch. We could fly off in this bitch. We should fly off in this bitch.
want to say block. The thing is that location.
I'm from Compton where them guns bust. Watch Papa George pop cats tell
That's a bad song.
Josh, your boy Analyst, here at Hidden Studios.
Actually, we're gonna have to have our own land object.
Don't mind the fancy look. Just came home from a party.
So
Not trying to change or nothing, you know what I
make a
mean?
new package for
Follow me.
land. We're gonna have a land object that ignores a Y location. So it's gonna be, no matter what, if you own a land, it's gonna be from Y0 to Y256. But it's still gonna be the same sort of thing as land, so fix that in a
I
second.
keep focused on my I keep focused on my I keep focused on my
Extend this location.
goals. I keep focused on my speak for what I've done. Weed smoke in my lungs. I'm like Neo, he the one that'll beast over these drums. Try to speak over, get sun. You ain't reloading no gun. I got 3 hoes in the blunt.
I'm not a big fan of that song either. So basically what this is gonna do is the Y is gonna be 256 no matter what. And well, no. Let me think real quick. How would we? It would be ignoring the fact that the Y location ever exists, so we could just say 0. But the real location won't be there. It'll be somewhere else. We just have to get the ground. So we'll have a method for that. So we'll do public.
Haters can take what I say as a diss. Changing the pace on the game that I spit. Brave cause I aim that
So
I ain't ever miss.
for-
Fuck what you know cause I stuck to the code. Can't get enough so I'm hustling for more. Other dudes bluff and they front like they know. So suppose it's nuts you should grow. Seek a revolver when easily bothered. These days things keep getting harder. So I treat Hennessy like it's water. Cause I lose sleep
Oh,
on things
stupid
that
of
I
me.
thought
Why did I
of.
put that there?
Stress keeps coming,
So we need
especially when
to
all your energy is running on empty. So you try to set free something in your mind, so you guys shouldn't envy nothing. No fear in my heart.
Hit I equals 0.
I made it so clear from my art.
Less than
He's been smart from the start.
256.
I even appear in the dark. I'm a star.
Which honestly I never doubt. I never doubt it'll be that low. We'll probably start at 50 or 25.
A's not a killer, but the kid is not
30.
a lover.
Just to save a few iterations, which is such a minuscule amount.
Can I just express the stress that's sitting on my chest? Express. Can I just express
And if
the stress that's sitting on my chest?
that would be a Y location. So if location equals new location, this gets X, I, this gets Z.
Eyes, no surprise. Soul is frozen, so just abide.
Oops, we need to do the world.
The goal is to die, the dope is to lie. Word up, I'm determined to gain no trust
Are these
in
sort
a
of
person.
private?
Stay in the cut like a surgeon. Ain't never gave no fucks like a virgin. Blunts out lit.
Oh, looks like my plugin broke for JDDUI. Yeah, we don't. Those aren't protected. Those are just private. So basically, this is our way to see where the ground is going to be. If we do if location, I'm pretty sure there's.
Feel good record. From the kid, cause I will put effort. I do this shit not for the bills or the cheddar, but just to make my people feel a bit better. Real is the fellas for real. Listen to the illness develop out my will. On another level, you feel the rebel in me isn't even settling for meals. Express. Can I just express the stress that's
That should be correct. We'll do more testing with it later, but that's probably a pretty close assumption of what we can do to say where the ground is going to be. Is there? Is I don't know what is empty does. I'll just check that later. So we have a land location set up. We just have to do land location. So this would be a pretty easy interface. What? Yeah. Okay. We'll be right back.
Hi again, it's me, hoes. Riding with my mijos, arriving at casinos as I'm lighting up what we've rolled. Flying my tuxedo, high as fucking egos, biased with an ego. Try us, get your teeth pulled. Your sinuses will bleed slow. I'm trying to strike your cheekbones. These Heinekens will be thrown. Your highness will be dethroned. Got this urge to break your vertebrae to thirds. Used to spit, but nowadays I'll just regurgitate a verse. Wordplay, I'm on this verge to make it worth all this work I've gave it just to say I've earned a pay from words. Quick, you sorta slow, bitch, I got a soldier soul. Spit until my throat is so sick that I need Protozol. System overload, list will give you no control. Listen to this flow to grow, wisdom from a poet pro. Stuck with rapping and I managed not to switch plans. You can't imagine how much shit I've had to withstand. Crazy, out here was patient, and now here's making shit you copy. I don't say this to be cocky, but it's crazy. Out here was patient, and now here's making shit you copy. I don't say this to be cocky, but it's crazy, crazy, crazy. But it's crazy, crazy, crazy. But it's crazy. Out here was patient, and now here's making shit you copy. I don't say this to be cocky, but it started splashing this ink. Hardest tracks that he brings, they often ask what he thinks, how he thought of that shit he sings. Walk back and get jinxed while I start slamming these drinks. Rock my ball cap with a mink, use a small cat to a sphinx. We active with grown visions, magic the flowgician. Dope shit makes hoes listen, got no click, just a coalition. I took a mic and chose to write the most to lie your rose. Booking flights for shows, am I supposed to strike a pose? The way I psych my foes, reciting notes that I compose. Cold as icicles, you hoes might go and wipe your nose. All my life I've roamed inside my dome to find my zone. I found it, bro, by downing ice patrons and lighting droves. On this microphone, I strike a hole with lightning bolts. Poltergeist your home, own your life and swipe your soul. 5 Coronas got your baby's mama trying to bone. By the morning, her aroma gon' be my cologne. Crazy, out here was patient, and now here's making shit you copy. I don't say this to be cocky, but it's crazy. Out here was patient, and now here's making shit you copy. I don't say this to be cocky, but it's crazy, crazy, crazy. But it's crazy, crazy, crazy. But it's crazy. Out here was patient, and now here's making shit you copy. I don't say this to be cocky, but it's best reefer with cold wine. Let's creep through my own mind. Let's see what we gon' find. As I get deep, it's a cold mine. Stress seems to be on high. Less sleeping, but more grind. Wreck beats with these raw rhymes. I sex freaks in my off time. The kids swiping your conscience. This might get you nauseous, but I'll stick a spike in your socket as I sit and strike you with objects. Hit you right where your top is, then ditch you while you're unconscious. Then hit your flight to the tropics. Keep a trigger right where my cock is. My talent established that I'll strike down any average cat that tries surrounding my habitat. Try to challenge a savage rap, get damaged and that's a fact. Kids scratching your cataract, will shatter your back with bats. My bitch bad and do acrobats. Listers on that knobs and spit. Hot shit, you the opposite. Get my cock licked in the cockpit of a rocket ship that I talk too quick. They can't control the beast that's over B, he's off the leash. Spits his poetry that's so unique right over beats. Crazy, out here was patient, and now here's making shit you copy. I don't say this to be cocky, but it's crazy. Out here was patient, and now here's making shit you copy. I don't say this to be cocky, but it's crazy, crazy, crazy. But it's crazy, crazy, crazy. But it's crazy. Out here was patient, and now here's making shit you copy. I don't say this to be cocky, but it's crazy, 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 crazy.
Alright. Let me fix this again.
I'ma need your undivided attention. Full undivided attention.
Oh, cool. It keeps aspect ratio. That's nice.
Yeah. He was just a kid named Michael. One night was lifted off a high dose. Drifted off the side road. Car spinning, started screaming with
the
his
hi-hats
eyes
are annoying
closed.
me. This is probably one of his best songs.
Yeah. Let him talk, man. Ask ask about my background, about that cat that has to back down, rolling up a half ounce of that loud, focus on stacking racks on my town.
It's that mind state that I'm in. A's gotta win, games on a play, I'm fatal with pins.
Okay,
Made it behaved,
so
I'm waiting for him to lose, so I'm taking offense.
it has
Praying my days, my
land
faith went in, but what made you convinced? That you could do what I do, were you able for this? Are you delusional, drinking on gin? Never be losing, my faith is within. Here's a part 2 to the game I begin. Use a cartoon, I'm a rated R film. Living in hell cause the devil's a test you. This is the shit that's developed in test tubes. I'm better than special. Who in the hell do it better than Seth do? Can't name them. My cats, they campaigning. Making mad payments. Are y'all mad cause I'm half famous? You don't have patience. A lot of you lacking imagination. I'm a broadcaster.
we need a way to, this is a simple way to do it. We'll actually have to check every single Y location. So if it were to contain, like we can have an arbitrary Y value, or a ambiguous Y value, really. So for now what we would do is do the same thing we did over here. It has to be a 0.
Snapping the back on attack mode, lifting the Mac up to jack up your backbone, wishing the how what they whack though. Stick to the facts as you cats always lack flow. Asshole cancel my last show, rap so fast that it's easy to rap slow. Smash your B in the back though, have both cheeks a commando. That boy thinks that he's Rambo, still is the illest, the rawest. You feel us and you just do not have the knowledge to get.
So we're keeping the same values, we're just changing the Y as we increase it. The max height should be 256 in every single world, if I believe it or not. Probably should be safe on that one. Oops, we need to get rid of that, and object for plot land. Object for plot land location with it's not really ambiguous, it's more like unlimited Y value, that's what I would say.
Now, here we go rhyming toxic. We don't got time to gossip, grinding constant. Fly as a fiber optic. People could try to stop it. Might get stomped. Who in the hell do it better than Seth do? Games on a play, I'm fatal with pins. Throw my fist to choke your bitch to old. Who in the hell do it better than Seth do? All I know is keep going.
It'll pop up encoding overloaded. I'm looking at the stream right now and it's going clear. So it's really strange how it says encoding overloaded. Keep watching it to see what it does. Yeah, it doesn't do anything when it's overloaded. It's basically like, it's not overloaded enough to be that bad. It only gets overloaded every once in a while. So these land objects would be what they would contain. Would this actually be not one land? Sorry, that's a hammer. This wouldn't be one land, this is just like a list of tons of land for one plot. So one plot's going to have land. So we do
Slim, the opposite. It don't
land,
fucking
land.
matter, man. Just strive. That's the recipe right there, dog. Dang, how times change. Nights came with migraines, but I've gained hella shit, dog, cause I've aimed.
Okay.
For my slice of fame.
So we would have a task timer, which is what I really like about MCNX. We have to get the boundaries of the land, so we actually have to work on that. Really think about how you do that. There has to be a really long sort of algorithm to get the boundaries of a this would be a cuboid, or not cuboid, well sort of like a cuboid, but we would have to, let me think about this real quick. I'm gonna actually see if there is a quick algorithm that you can do with the for loop. This is probably like the first reference I'll need from the internet.
Thank God for the good occasions. Now I gotta pray for a little more patience. My mood has been through phases, issues that I wish you tasted.
Get boundaries of a square.
Cause I can't do with the minimal wages. Stressing a lot. Pop said, look at the blessings you got. But I'm a hot head, processing thoughts off Hennessy shots. I will not rest till I make every one of my enemies drop. So talk less, you are envious, stop pretending you're not. Cause I ride with my head up. At least try to get better.
strive to get better. It's cause I'm high on momentum. It's cause I'm high on momentum. That's right, I'm high on momentum. I'm feeling high on momentum. High on momentum. That's right, I'm high on momentum. Live as a striver.
So we'll be checking a 2D plane for the most part, because but at the same time we would have to get the ground. So it'd be like a 3D plane, but it would be like the height of it would be different. Like I don't know how to explain it necessarily.
It's the eye of the tiger, so trick try to decipher how list might get you hyper off the shit I recite in the cipher. I'm excessively smoking, stressing I need to just get up and focus. But showbiz has me needing these medicine doses. It's getting atrocious, my temper is getting ferocious. I've been headed through moments where
so we actually need to keep the corners in memory, probably. That's what I would think. So private land location would do top corner, and private land location bottom corner. There has to be a algorithm for that, I'm pretty sure. If you were to get the corners of a cuboid, yeah.
I'm like, honey, I'm out, I got money to count. Running around with the honeys in town. Hungry so I don't be dumbing it down. Cause I ride with my head up. These strive to get better. Ride with my
This guy's like, how do I get a vertex of a rotating cube? Like, that is, that's not what I need.
It's cause I'm high on momentum. It's cause I'm high on momentum. That's right, I'm high on momentum. I'm feeling high on momentum. High on momentum. That's right, I'm high on momentum.
I'm looking at some people's solutions to see what they've been doing, but I'm trying to figure out what this guy's trying to get across. Oh, I get it. So we'd have to get the X and Z values with the lowest. So it's actually a lot simpler than I think it would be. So top corner would be the highest value, bottom corner would be the lowest value on both ends. So private void set corners. Maybe this will be easier than I thought it would be. For getting the corners, at least we still have to get the boundaries of it. So corners would be looping through two. So for actually do int min value equals well no, we do min x equals 0, int max no min z equals 0, int max x equals 0, and int max z. So theoretically these two would be the corner and this would be the corner, but the max would be the top corner, or the this is like looking at it from above. Like if we were to hold this square vertically, it would be top, but really it's being horizontally, so there's no top corner really, but it's actually it'd be turning out to be a cuboid in a way, but the y value is the same for every single thing, so it's not really going to be a cuboid. So we have to look through the block. We'll do land location, yeah. Just cause. So we'd have to get the ground of it, but we don't really care about the ground, I don't think. Let me think here. Okay. So if min x is, so we're getting the smallest x value, min x is greater than land location dot gigax. Then we'd, yeah, hold on.
She be so bad that she's good, leaving a man on a hook.
I'm gonna look at my little brother's room real quick because they got it set up and they want me to look at it.
She'll make you chase that pretty face, then leave you right where you standing, so say no. I've already noticed her motives, already noticed her motives, I've already noticed her motives, and she knows. I've already noticed her motives, already noticed her, I've already noticed her, I've already noticed her motives, already noticed her motives, I've already noticed her motives, and she knows, already noticed her motives, already noticed her motives, I've already noticed her motives.
Alright. Looks like the music stopped. Oh, it restarted, I think. Let me see. No, it didn't restart. Okay.
I'm just chilling right now. Super chill mode. Writing through these pages, I'm the type of dude with patience, always grinding, cause it's likely that I might get super famous. You don't like me cause I got your wifey vibing to my latest.
Okay, so if that is greater than it, then the minimum x is equal to land location dot get x. Same thing with that's double. I bet I do need to keep it as a double. Well, let me think here. We're gonna keep it ints. Because we don't wanna have the border to be like right in the middle of a block. We want it to be on a block. So same thing over here. If min z or the same thing over with the max x and min x. Except it's gonna be like that. So that would theoretically set the corner as far as I'm concerned. So let's see here. It'd be a lane location. So top corner equals new. Let's see here. Land location. We do need to know the worlds. So private land location blocks. And every single time, oh, no, I do it like that. No, what am I doing? No. Oh. I do that sometimes with iterations. I like to have it like that. I don't know what it's yelling at me about. Illegal modifier. Oh yeah, I forgot. We were in a method. I'm stupid. So we'll do L. I like doing that for loops. Whenever I have a method, or whenever I have a field that's already named close to a field, I just set it to that. So land location equals to L. So the very, very, very last location that we get in the iteration, it'll be that. So then what we can do is we can say top corner equals to let me think here. Wait, did I do that wrong? No, that's right. We just gotta do set x min x. It's getting mad at me for that. We do it over here.
What could he really grow up in the mouth to? Tell me why haters be so fucking doubtful. Judge you when they don't know nothing about you. They don't know nothing about you. Judge you but they don't know nothing about you. They used to say trash, but now the same dudes be saluting my tracks. Have my music on blast. Love the way I be intruding on wax.
So basically, we're just using this object here because we're trying to keep the same fields as we had before. So we don't have to remake a completely new object. We're just setting the new object.
We don't compete in no league full of rookies. Everyone's asking how good do my kush be?
It's your boy Cerebral. Hey yo, they knew I was coming.
Oh, I got that backwards. That's top corner. Top corner. That's stupid. Bottom corner. And just because of OCD, it has to be in the correct order. Okay. Good enough for me. We will see if that works in a debugging stage, but for now, we're good with that. Let's see here. We do have to have a way to get the bounding box of get the square of it, like the entire square, and then get the borders of that square. But that's something we're gonna do a bit later. But right now, this is what we have. We have the player plots, which will be mostly just simple managing. Let's see here. That's just the bare bones of it right there. We're not basically what I'm trying to get through is getting the point of the back end done, and then doing the front end. So everything that's back end, and then doing the front end for the most part, and then fixing as we go. I'm gonna do something small so I can end this stream at 2 hours.
You already know who it is by now, man. Analyst, yeah. Look. Murder in the damn base. Girl, is this your man's place? Twerk and make your ass shake.
I'm gonna look at all the things that we have. We could do a quick item broadcaster, because that's something super simple. I'm gonna be a perk for a command, or a perk for a level. We do have to do this real quick. So we have to do for that. We need to get the iteration. So do int I equals to 0 I lesson perks plus plus string change equals to perks I. There should be just a button that you can press and convert an enhanced for loop into a loop, and vice versa. Because really, like, I don't know how many times I've wasted of converting for loops because I need to use them a different way. I could have just done index of, but you know how I am. I do it the easy way. Or I think index of would be an extra method call, and it seems like a little bit, it could be more memory inducing or memory heavy. I don't know. What are we gonna put here? The level. Yeah. We'll keep it as MB plus, and then well, no. We'll do NB plus, and then the I plus 1. So that just display the level before it, and then we'll do and all these are going to be still gray, I believe. It's going to show the level before it. Yeah, so we got all these different, we will have to add new perks. So after a new home unlock, 2 new kits, usually. We'll just do that later. Let's do item command. This is probably the last thing we do for this. It'll be a pretty simple one too. Imagine that. And one night we
go back to back. Now past the grass, wake up to a whole avalanche of ash. Drag, hold, laughs, jokes. Taking fat toast till we have choke. Buck wild puffin' out smoke. We get buck wild puffin' out smoke. Drag, hold,
So if
taking fat toast till we have choke.
Cinder
We get buck wild
instance
puffin' out
of player
We get buck wild puffin' out smoke. So much strange that we blazing.
because we're not going to broadcast an item that a console has because console doesn't have an item.
Vaping while I got my records in rotation. Stay away from fake friends. Stay up late till the day ends. Then wake up waking bacon. Maybe whip up a couple eggs with bacon. Such a great sensation when you can have a great conversation. All from a straight inhalation and avoid any link complications.
So we need to check their permission as well. We need to have like an array of permissions somewhere that I can look at. Yeah, I'll just display them all here. So TheAura dot item slash item command. Just so I can keep track of all of our permissions, so I don't forget what they do. Or should we have a? I'm really starting to think. Yeah, let's go and do that. We can have a manager class for that. This would be super. Basically, just a. I like to have a lot of, even though I use quite a bit of functional programming. Hey Saul, how are you doing? I don't know when that message was sent. But even though I have a lot of functional programming, I like to have a lot of I have a lot of functional programming in here. Because it's a lot easier just to have a class to use just a few methods. So we'll have public boolean have permission.
Alright, so I'm ready, G.
Oh no, get out of that.
Notepad as I picked up a pen, and the go plaque is the shit I'ma win. It happened so fast, how'd I end up within this mix up I'm in, trying to rid all my sins. And I stay driven cause I spit it for the youth.
And we're gonna have an array of permissions.
Listening a little bit of truth, I spit it great just to hint a little bit of proof. This bag of weed will have to leave my gravity and actually advance me to a masterpiece. If you plan to be the majesty of rapping, then you practically been branded as a casual.
That is how I do my raise, don't judge. It's like a lot easier to display it and to read, for the most part at least, so I keep it like that. Okay, just shut up, I'll message you in a second. So I can look this. And we also need the most important command, or permission, ta.star.
Sometimes I feel annoyed enough though that I can start a royal rumble, destroy and crumble, but I swear the boy is humble. I just gotta voice my struggle. Let me vent. Let me vent.
So a lot of this, even though it's like it may seem kind of bad to do, all these I'm actually referring to array indexes because of course I know what those indexes are. A lot of people would say like, oh, that's confusing for the people reading it, which is true. You should be writing your code so other people can understand what you're doing, but they can just not be lazy and look at what the array is. And no one's gonna be really looking at the source unless I release it. I think it's always easy to do arrays for the most part. So all I have to do is if sender, oh no, we get the player. We already know what the player has. It's a lot simpler, to me at least. So we'll do a quick permission object in this class. Oops. Installed. If you're listening, if you're still watching, let me check. Yeah, if you're still listening, this is how I'm accessing classes. from each other by having a singleton instance as my main class, and then getting it from that main class. If that makes sense to you. See, I'm getting the instance, and then I'm getting the object has permission. I'll do, I'll just store this as an object, so I don't have to keep calling it. Permission. It'll be a little bit line. I'm just gonna call it has, just because it looks better. Permission has. That makes more sense to me. Permission has permission dot permissions 1. It may seem clunky, but it works. It works very good in my opinion. It's actually the first time I've done something like this, but that's because I'm working on a core. I guess that means it looks confusing to you. Yeah, I guess it has to look it has to build on top of itself pretty good. This is what object-oriented code looks like. If they don't have it, my bad. I'm gonna say. Yeah, and cleaner. Yes, much cleaner. I don't think I set up a message. Just say, I'll probably have a messages thing. Yeah, there we go. See, I told you guys, this is a very useful way to do it. That had to be over 115 words per minute. Ooh, no. This is my prophecy. Listen up, you can learn a lot from me. Animosity is something I receive from guys that are honestly obsolete. I'ma go big for the people around me. Every word is sounding clean as Downey. I'ma get every single speaker pounding. So suck on 4 dicks on me, keep frowning. While money is something I keep counting. So flooded with so much I seem drowning. Never forget the argument for that. Surrounded with nothing but G's around me. Dipping through obstacles, mission impossible. And you know the kid has come to kick a colossal flow. Lick up my popsicle, shit is so off the globe. Oh, the int, my bad. I forgot how you do this. We always do. Basically, the way this works is we have it should be at the bottom along with everything. And I'm just gonna leave it like that because it's only like 2 lines. But we have a prefixes array as well. I'm actually gonna store this down here because it's gonna be expanded later. Because we're going to have like stuff like level and stuff like that, so it looks cleaner, or not cleaner, more easier to read and chat for the most part. So we're going to have TheAura everywhere. Why did Gaiazo just pop up? Oh, this block selection mode is so annoying. It keeps popping up for me randomly. So we're just going to get information about the item. Pretty much it's just going to create a new JSON message, which I think we have a library for that. Yes, we finally have a library for JSON messages. I have never messed with this library one time, so I have no clue exactly how we're going to build it, but I'm going to have to read through it. This was written by Justice R on MCM, I think. I don't think he did all of it, but he took credit for it. JSON object. Is that a... Oh, that's part of actually... I think it's a part of bucket. Yeah, they have a JSON object, okay. Oh, that is really simple. Great. Okay, awesome. So... I'm just gonna do... that. I'm starting to think that this method is going to be ambiguous or deprecated because I think it gets removed in the newest bucket, but we're in 1.7, so I don't think it matters. But really, I've heard there's errors with that now, so I don't know if that's gonna work. So let me see. I think there's a way you do set an achievement. Yeah, as achievement. Set click as URL. This is what we should be doing. I think this will do new line. Sweet, he's doing new line. Awesome. That's what we need. So we'll do string item name. Well, let me think here. If they don't have any item information, we're just gonna tell them that the item has no meta. So if let's go ahead and get. Did you make the plugin I made better? The Rocket plugin, I don't even have the code for it anymore because it's kind of like something I can write in like almost 5 minutes or something. So you writing it was useful because in the old core I did copy all your code and use it, but in this core it's probably going to be completely different. And for messages that we're not going to reuse that much, it's going to be written by hand pretty much. I don't know if my OCD is going to like that, but I think that's actually what we're going to keep doing. Okay, I'm getting tired of Analyst. Let's see, there's one more good song. Yeah, that's all. We're going to do, let's see what we have. We do have some of Logic's music, so we can do. We'll do Welcome to Forever. I don't think this is copyrighted. Let's hope it's not. But actually, it was a mixtape, so I don't think it could be copyrighted. Encoding overloaded. Shut up. I don't think it's overloaded. Logic. Let's see if it goes to overloaded again. Yeah, whenever it says overloaded, it doesn't look like it's lagging or anything like that. So I'm not too sure. Like before, when it said it was overloaded, it would be like the stream would just turn to like a potato camera or something like that. We do need to get the enchantments as well. How can we make this look like? Let me think here. What does public void execute do? Just to quickly explain it to you. This, the command, the way I do commands, there is an interface. I don't know if you remember what an interface is, but basically, this would be the execute method for that. And then each of these commands, they implement that interface, which basically means that if I were to, whenever I have an executor, all these are an executor. So I can easily go through and find which one it is without changing the variable. And then at the end, all I have to do is return the executor, and then it's the same method throughout the entire time. So basically, it's just an easy way to, what am I trying to say? You have one object, and then you can specifically like fine tune it to what object it's going to be to figure out what the execute method would do. I don't know how to explain it exactly. You just have to look up what an interface is. but that's the way I'm using it. Interfaces can be used in a bunch of different ways. Because we have an interface over for the player mode, and we have one for the plots. we also have to get the lore, so I think it's listering. I don't necessarily remember how items look like when you hover over them. I'm gonna have to look at that. To look up an image of it.